In this video, we're going to answer the question, what are intervals? Well, intervals is a simple concept, but it gets a little bit tricky when we start talking about differentiating the actual intervals. All an interval is a specific distance between two notes. So for instance, if I were to take this note, which is a D, to this note, which is an E, I'm skipping over one note and I'm getting to another one. And that is the exact same interval as if I went from this note, which is a G sharp, to this note, which is an A sharp. Again, I'm skipping over one note and I'm getting there. This is the same interval as this. And if you've watched my videos in order, you already know a couple of intervals. You know half steps and whole steps, which is a simple way to talk about intervals. But we're going to get a little bit more specific, and all of the intervals that we're going to use in this are going to have two components. The first part is a number, and the second part is a quality, and actually it goes in the other order. But for instance, we'll start talking about intervals like major third, perfect fourth, minor sixth. So there will be that quality, something like major or minor or augmented, perfect, diminished. And there will be a number, a fourth, a sixth, a seventh, something like that. So we're going to start off with just looking at the numbers. How do we tell if something is a second apart or a third apart or a fourth apart? When we're talking about intervals, you actually need to know about two pieces of information. You need to know where the notes are on a keyboard, but you also really need to know where they would appear on a staff. And when we talk about the numbers, what's important to know is how far apart they are on the staff. For this part I'm going to show you, you don't even need a clef, because whatever the clef is, the answer would be the same as far as the numbers are concerned. The quality will change. If I were to see two notes like this, I can simply count how far apart are they. And I'm going to start the count with the first note. So 1, which is the space, 2, 3. This is a third. The neat thing about that is it doesn't matter, like I said, let me just focus there a little bit. It doesn't matter if this is on a treble clef or a bass clef, whatever it is, they're exactly 3 notes apart. Let's try another one. How about if I went from this note, I'll start with a higher note this time, down to this note? Well, let's count. 1, starting with the line that my first note's on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a sixth. Let's try one more like this. How about from this note to this note? We start by counting. Where is this one? It's on the space. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a fifth. Now, we'll talk about one more thing in this video before we move on to some specific quality intervals. All of the intervals that I've been making so far look like this. They have one note and another note after that. But there's another way to do it, which would be to have two notes at the same time, like a stack. If you were to see these with actual note heads, you could see something like this. Let's say there were quarter notes. You could see 2 quarter notes or 1 quarter note being played at the same time with 2 different notes. These are just 2 different ways to do the exact same thing. They're still intervals. The neat thing is this is still called a third. That doesn't change. So both of these are third, but we do have different names for these. This one is called melodic. This one is called harmonic. And here's an easy way to remember that. A melody is always one note at a time. If you think about if I were to ask you to sing a melody, like to sing any song that you know, you would be singing something. The melody is like the part that you would sing. And since most of us can only sing one note at a time, there only is one note at a time. But the harmony, this would be like the chords, right? Can have, and it should have, multiple notes at the same time. So the harmonic interval has multiple notes at the same time. If you wanted to be really specific, you could say, this is a melodic third, and this is a harmonic third. And if you want to be more specific than that, you'll have to watch the next part where we'll talk about what are some of the qualities of intervals. If you found that video helpful, please click the subscribe button below to find more videos just like it.